Greetings, everybody. This is James L. Persley, and today I will be going over chapters 13 and 14. It is career development, job loss, and transitions of working adults. Here are some of the areas of interest, the outlines of topics addressed. We have adults in transition, job loss concerns, personal and career problems associated with job loss, outplacement counseling, uh, some causes of unemployment, and social networking. Now, Schlossberg identified transitions as anticipated, unanticipated, chronic hassles, and events that do not happen. Now, in regards to the anticipated, that would be a person who's finding their first job, the job that they want, they're graduating, getting degrees, certified license, going in the field of work they've studied for, their career, or marriage. And these are intended dynamics that are taking place, progressive positive moves that a person, their energy about what they're going to take, what they're getting ready to get involved in is a little bit different than the other ones. For example, unanticipated transitioning. That is usually when a person ends up getting fired. They lose their job based on lack of funding, or their job leaves and goes to Alaska. A new transfer to a new location. It's kind of similar to grief, if you will. This is an unintended dynamic that ends up taking place, and this is the individuals at this stage, unanticipated transitioning, I pay close attention to because in my field, they're more prone to engage in coping skills that are counterproductive, such as using substances and doing things of that nature. But in any event, the next thing that we have is that we have chronic hassles. Now, the chronic hassles you've got, as I have here, bad boss, bad work environment, bad hours. To summarize that, you've got a bad boss is somebody who's hostile, problematic every day, whatever's going on, we're going to have an issue. Uh, uh, Bad work environment, safety, they don't provide the necessary gear to do the job right. Maybe I'm out in the sun and there's no water provided, and we potentially risk running a heat stroke every time we go out there in this hot 100 and something degree weather, or bad hours. I'm working single parent, or maybe not a single parent. Either I'm working too long, you give me 8 hours, but you actually make me stay for 12, or you tell me I'm going to be there for 8 hours and you only give me three and a half. I still have kids and responsibilities and bills that I have to take care of, or you give me too many hours and the time I can spend with my kids are already asleep. And if that becomes a consistent issue, of course, there it is. It's a chronic hassle. That's a management issue. Next we have is events that do not happen. We've got not getting a raise or promotion, not getting, a particular office. Oh, I'm tenured. I've been there for 8 years, and this person's been here for 2 years, and they've already started off with such and such, or whatever the case is. I'm angry, aggravated, bothered, and I'm having to transition because I'm still working there, and I'm still having to tolerate what's going on. I'm feeling some kind of way about it. So these are events that don't happen. And then last, it says here, not getting a change in work schedule. I put in my time to be on vacation 2 months ago. We're short staffed and we just can't let anyone go at this point in time. And so if this continues to happen, this can be problematic for an employee that works there. Now, that being said, next thing we're going into is job loss concerns. Now, what we want to be able to identify during this time is, the certain circumstances, interpretations of the past, just situation influences that create uh, balance for that client. We need to be able to look at that. Because again, as I said before, people who leave by choice are anticipated, and those who don't leave by choice or are unanticipated or fired. Uh, uh, Everyone's going to need some level of balance. Some will need more than others, but it's necessary to have. And regardless, there will or should be some psychological concerns to exist. And there are responsibilities that still need to be taken care of for both parties, and to keep from having like adverse effects in one's self-esteem, self-efficacy, or just in their lifestyle in general. Uh, uh, we should be cognizant of uh, uh, what this person may be experiencing, what they're going through, and some of the other factors that may be important, such as uh, outpatient counseling. I'm sorry, outplacement counseling. And in this case, unanticipated job loss can produce feelings that one has lost control of their life, anxiety, and just low morale. And there are four stages that we focus on: denial, anger, fear, and acceptance. And in this chapter, they describe the stages from not accepting or actively rejecting what's going on, which is denial, to anger for what ended up taking place, either towards persons, typically not towards self-blaming most times, but in any event, there's some level of anger. Then there's worry, or I'm sorry, there's fear about what to do next. Where am I supposed to go? What's supposed to happen? When these areas are addressed, uh, getting to a place of acceptance on what to do next or what needs to be done is good. You want to be able to give the client insight on how the field is becoming more competitive due to outsourcing. Um, that's a major component. And what has happened to the good jobs that are out there? They are there. You're just not looking at it from this perspective. Some may not be very computer savvy. Uh, But in any event, you still have the social media networking. That's a good source of being able to create a platform for reciprocal power. It's casual. It's passing on information that can help an individual with seeking employment. Now, some of the causes of unemployment, the why is not important so much. What are you going to do about it? That is important. But when you're having a conversation, to be on kind of the same page with the client and know some of the causes for the unemployment or why these things could have ended up taking place. I'll address three of them here where, like job exploration, well, this is where other countries have skilled persons to do a job for a cheaper price. And so what does this big company do? They go there. Or you have outsourcing. And this is where companies reduce the production costs. And of course, because they reduce the production costs, they're going to probably reduce, they can't reduce rates, but they're going to make some changes, and that's going to make people move around. Uh, uh, and then you have like automation. That is where things make the job more mechanical devices, or things make the job more, it becomes a more efficient job using these mechanical devices, and it replaces human labor. So, knowing the causes of unemployment doesn't change the circumstances, but it does help. I think it helps in reaching the client in particular. Now, when dealing with a client, what you will probably have a lot of is, at that point in time, faulty cognitions. Now, lack of insight can lead to faulty cognitions. From self-depreciating statements and negative exaggerations about things, that are taking place. They can lead to irrational expectations regarding what to get out of counseling, what to get out of my career. Most of what I'm addressing today, again, as I said, is about unanticipated employment loss, because this is where I see most of the problematic situations occurring from. Cognitive behavioral counseling is utilized to focus on the thoughts that might get in the way of the behaviors, progressive behaviors that need to take place. And so, from thinking that it is all their fault for losing the job, or patterns of thinking that affect the mood of someone, and ultimately the behavior in seeking the employment, all necessary to address. It could be the thing that gets them over the hump or makes them go back down. We have bio psychosocial framework and life events. Now, even though the job situation might be in flux, there are certain things that are not, well, let me say there's things that are interconnected, kind of like, your personal life, your career life, and life experiences. Those things still take place. They're still going on. And between individuals, they may have the same events, but the effects on the individual could be different. Uh, this is an area to focus on. Um, Knowing what stage a person is in regards to career development is important. It says that we have your early, middle, and late career development stages. And so early development, in the early development stages, you have uh, those are ages between 25 and 44, and what is being established is forming a unique identity in the work world. Early career experiences provide opportunities to establish self in the workplace. Now, during this time, there are career anchors that take place to help maintain balance in one's life. There are core values, interests, and abilities that are developed consisting of technical functional competence, managerial competence, autonomy, security, service dedication, pure challenge, lifestyle integration, and entrepreneurship. Um, Next, we have what is the middle career development stage, and in this one, we are dealing with there's no age. It's not based on age, if you will, but basically the stages can be challenged based on the variable. They can be challenging based on the variables that exist, but having a greater self understanding and identification with the work world someone has existed in could produce anxiety if focus is not placed on improving working positions and situations during that time. You have those mid-career stages, and each one of these situations, of course, it's an individualized experience, and so each person's experience will be different. So it's very important because age is not a factor in regards to middle career development to make sure that you're having a healthy conversation with the client. Uh, Next, we have late career development. And late career development or transitioning to retirement. In this area, the focus is on the individual's activities outside of the workplace. There's an interest on gradual detachment from work environment. We have what is called bridge employment there. And what is bridge employment? Bridge employment is where you're still doing the exact same thing, but your time is reduced. Maybe your responsibilities are reduced. Could be because of age related changes that are taking place, based on job performance and health concerns. I mean, just to name a few things. But knowing where the person is. I mean, if you really think about it, if you have a person who's in a position, I mean, pretty obvious, I would suppose, but in a late career development, and you approach them as if they are actually in early career development, could be problematic. So, I mean, that's an extreme and drastic comparison, but being aware of where a person is, I would say, is important. Uh, we have what is called interacting influences. Now, this is the concept that if one accepts the proposition that an individual's career transitions over the lifespan are influenced by both internal and external factors, uh, it creates by the concept creates or it allows for a holistic approach to take place. And some of those things that you want to look at is from competition at the jobs to your mood management, you name it. This helps integrate personal and career concerns that end up taking place for a person. Um, and last we have here is life roles and potential conflicts. Now, in this area here, we have worker roles, leisure roles, homemaker roles, and citizen roles. And to just kind of summarize it, these roles will increase or decrease in importance according to the individual status. I mean, you take all of them, and depending on where you are, let's just go straight to homemaker role. Newlyweds, newly married, okay, homemaker role. Married for 6 years, 3 kids, homemaker role. The responsibilities or the investment or the interest of that person will be different based on their status, where they think that they are. Work roles change based on technology and standard operating procedures, and leisure role. You can't some of the leisure roles that people engage in with when they were 20 or 30 or whatever the case is may be different than someone who's at 44. And so again, that is another one to kind of look at. You've got citizen roles, and with the citizen roles, these are civic roles where there are activities that might fulfill purpose for different people, where you have this person that's in the late development or late stage. They may want to be citizen on patrol, whereas you have another person who's in early and they want to give to the community and take care of parks and work with parks and recreation. It basically it varies. So these are, I would say that would conclude my presentation today for career development, job loss, and transitions of working adults. And my questions I have for the listeners are: with this information, how could it better service a client that comes into your desk to come in to see you for assistance? How can this information benefit the client? How could knowing this information assist the therapist in dealing with the client? And two, could any of this information be impactful or have influence on self? Uh, Thank you for listening, and that's all.